Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you one of the most underrated technical analysis techniques that has completely transformed my trading, which is calculating the moving average slopes. Most traders just look at whether the price is above or below a moving average, but they're actually missing a crucial information. The angle of the moving average tells you everything about the momentum and the trend strength. In today's video, I'll show you exactly how I calculate these slopes using Python. You'll see how I use them to identify trend strength, spot potential reversals, and make better entry and exit decisions. I'll also walk you through some real life examples so you can see this technique in action. If you want to stop getting faked out by false breakouts and start identifying real trends with confidence, this is the video for you. So let's just dive in.
If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Vivek and I'm a financially independent algo trader. This channel is all about building a community of algo traders. We discuss everything about algo trading using Python, building and backtesting trading strategies, market updates, and much more. Please do visit our community website, FabTrader.in. Also do check out my other YouTube channel, FabWealth, where I talk about my own financial independence journey and share tools, methods, and strategies that help me achieve my financial freedom. Thank you.
The code that I'm about to walk through is as usual available on our community website, FabTrader.in. You're familiar with this. So you can go into stories and you would find the moving average slope. The article is pretty detailed. It gives you entire account of how this works, including the actual code is embedded here. And it also gives you a couple of real world examples. And then most importantly, it tells you how to interpret the values that comes out of the program itself, right? So how to understand and how to interpret and how do you find out, what trend the particular stock is following can be made out from this one. You don't have to worry. I'll also provide the link to this blog article in the description as well as I'll pin it on the comment section as well. So you can always refer to that. Now let's jump into the actual code itself. I don't want to keep the video short. I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to explain what moving average is all about and all that because I'm pretty sure you're already aware of that. So I'll jump right into the code. The code is pretty simple. It takes three inputs. One is the stock code. In this case, I'm using Yahoo Finance. So the second input it takes is what is the moving average window that you want. In this case, I've just kept 20 because since I'm considering daily candles here, 20 MAs is basically a good measure of MA to look at. The third input is basically the slope period. How long do you really want to consider the data going back? Right? In this case, it's going back up to 30 trading sessions. So it would basically calculate the moving averages for this 30-day period. And then based on that information, it calculates slope. So to make this code work, you would have to install two dependencies. One is NumPy and the other is scikit-learn. Scikit-learn is again open source. Typically people use it for machine learning, especially when it comes to if you want to work with classification, regression, or clustering. It's one of the best and powerful tools available in the market. So the way code works is we use a linear regression to figure out what the slope of the moving average for the time period that we already mentioned. And then it returns a slope value. And then depending upon the slope value, you can now figure out whether the trend is either very weak, moderate, or strong, or very strong, depending upon the value. And also if it's positive, it means it's an uptrend. If it's a negative, it is a downtrend. So I'll show you a couple of examples on how this works. For example, in this one, I've considered Infosys. Infosys, as we know, has taken a nosedive here. So if you look at the output, the moving average slope value is actually negative, and it's showing a very strong downward trend. I'll also show you the chart, and we can check whether the code is working fine. So let's look at the Infosys chart itself. This is a daily candle here, and then this line denotes the 30 candles, 30-day period that we're talking about, and this is the 20 EMA. We can consider moving average or EMA doesn't make a lot of difference there. And this yellow line is basically the line that I drew, which basically gives you an idea as to what the slope is, which indicates that it is a pretty downtrend. Look at the way it has taken a nosedive here. So that way the code seems to be working and then giving you the right results. Now let's take a look at another example. This time, what about the uptrend ones? For example, Bajaj Finance is in the news all the time. It's quite famous now. When the entire market seems to be going downhill, Bajaj Finance seems to be like a racing horse. So it's an interesting case. So I've taken Bajaj Finance here, and then rest of the inputs remain the same. And then when we run it, we get a positive 38, which is pretty steep, and then it's also showing a very strong upward trend based on the value. Right? Let's take a look at the chart now. There you go. That's the Bajaj Finance daily chart, and then this line that I had connected from these 30-day start of the moving average to the end denotes the overall angle and the trend this stock is going, which pretty much is very clear that it's a very strong upward trend. So we've tested both scenarios with the code, and the code seems to be working well. So that is how exactly the code works. You can refer to the blog article where it explains how to basically infer the data, the slope value or the angle, and then accordingly how do you find out the trend. So you can read through this blog article for more details. So how I personally use this is basically I don't use this as a standalone indicator. You should never do. As any good algo trader would tell you, you would have to use a confluence of indicators. Do not take just one indicator and trade with it. You typically look for confirmation from multiple sources of indicators to ensure that you're in the right direction and you're making the right trade. Right, that increases your success of your trade to a higher degree. So I typically take this also into account whenever I'm getting into a trade. For example, if I'm getting into a long trade, I would really want to check if the slope of the moving averages are all aligned. In fact, there are strategies that I use where I use multiple moving averages and then I check the slope of every moving averages to ensure that all of them are indeed pointing towards a particular direction that I want to take the trade into. So that is one way I use it. Or sometimes if the slope is very steep, for in the case of the Bajaj Finance that we talked about, I typically tend to avoid taking a trade because anything that has a very steep slope like that tend to reverse with a vengeance. So typically you'll have to be very careful. So you can actually use this tool in multiple ways to ensure that your overall success of the trade improves. In the next video, I'll take this concept that I've just explained and then show you a small utility that can do a screening of any stock universe that you want and give you a list of top uptrending or the downtrending stocks from that universe. If you genuinely found this video useful, please consider subscribing and liking the video. And I will see you soon in another video. And until then, take care and happy trading.